Hi, my name's Dave Williams, and welcome to Single-Handed Solutions, an ongoing video series where I demonstrate alternative ways to accomplish tasks in and around the house with the use of only one arm. Why? I've been contending with a paralyzed right arm since 1978, and I've learned how to do a lot of things with just one arm, and I'd certainly like to share it with other people, including yourself. So, watch this video. I hope it proves to be useful for you. And if you do like what you see, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, but most important, I want you to leave comments. What did you like, what you didn't like, what you would like to see in the future. Thank you. I was born on the 15th of July, 1957, the eldest son of Alan and Barbara Williams. My childhood was filled with the traditional age-appropriate activities, Little League, lizard hunting, bicycling to the mall, stuff like that. The one constant in my youth was the obsession to be cool. Obviously, I was clueless as where to begin. Also obvious was my little brother heading down the same uncool trail. I had to succeed. I did enjoy drawing, and soon I realized I could get the attention of the girls in my class by drawing Yogi Bear on my school papers. I also loved watching cartoons on TV. I really loved watching cartoons. This would later lead to my career. Well, okay, here we are at 13. Well, at least I'm not wearing my pants up to my chest anymore. Moving on. Here we are at 15. The posturing has improved, and definitely giving off an attitude of independence. Here we are at 19. I now had both the physique and the posturing. I had a new truck, and I was well versed at the art of sarcasm. My dad would call me macho, which was not meant as a compliment. I had arrived. As you can see, at 15, my younger brother looked more cool than me. Later, I would buy a street bike and end up bouncing it off my friend's car and into a light pole. Of the many traumas my body suffered from that night, one was a paralyzed right arm. Fast forward 44 years. I'm now retired and spend most of my time working around the house. But I also engage in recreational sports, pickleball particularly. And one day I met up with a woman friend from pickleball. We'll call her Jennifer, whom I hadn't seen for about 3 months. She explained how she broke her wrist and had to do everything with only one arm. She said she kept thinking about me. How does he do it? It was at that moment that I realized there were many people that could benefit from a video series done by someone who's lived it and is living it. Let's do this. Okay, hold up. Okay, so here I am on the pickleball court, and my shoe is untied, and I'm gonna tie it with one hand, pull my pant leg up so it doesn't get in the way. The first thing I do is I do a double under over, as it were, and then I use my other foot to hold one shoelace tight, step on it, and then I pull it tight like that. So that's the key to keeping everything tight, giving it that second over under, and then loop it over. And then the next part, which is really critical in my mind, is to keep that loop as absolute tight as you can, because once it gets loose, it's hard to cinch it back up, and then just push that one lace, the other lace through, and there it is. And I push down on it, grab the other loop, and cinch it tight. Sometimes I can put my fingers in the loop, and that helps. And I cinch the knot down. And essentially, that is how you tie your shoelace with one hand. Okay, I thought it might be nice to end the shoelace tying segment with a few more options. So first thing I want to let you know, which you probably already figured out, the laceless shoe, the loafer, everybody's friend. But you got to remember, I come from a vain perspective, and I don't want anybody thinking that, oh, Dave can't tie shoelaces. He must have something wrong with his arm. I'm over it now. My best friend is the shoe that's in really good shape. The sneaker that's a nice sneaker. It's really white. The laces are really white. So I can wear kind of crummy clothes, but by having these shoes on my feet, it's like, oh, Dave looks very nice today. And this is great for backyard barbecues and stuff like that. But you got to remember, they're only for special occasions in relaxed atmospheres. You don't want to walk them around all the time. Anyway, and in these cases, I just tuck the laces on either side of the tongue. I don't even worry about tying them. So there's another option. Now, dress shoes. You gotta, if you're not going to go with a loafer and you're going with a dress shoes tend to have shorter shoelaces, and they're waxy, and so they're really tough to manage. You don't want to bend over and turn around real easy with one hand. I've learned that. I'm going to use this dress shoe. It has a little bit longer laces, but it's rather thin. But I thought I'd give another demonstration of tying a shoelace, this time with a dress shoe. And the other thing is these casual shoes that are higher up, so the laces go higher up. I personally love these shoes to wear with jeans. They're really nice. But you can't like step on the shoelace. You gotta kind of move your foot up against the side of the shoe because the shoelace isn't long enough. Anyway, these are different things to consider before you make a shoe purchase. Also, another thing, if you go on Pinterest and look up shoelace tying, there's all kinds of really fun ways in which you can do the laces up in different ways, and you tie the ends of the shoelace so it acts like a loafer, but it's laced. Another great option to play with your feet. I hope this was helpful, and like I said, I'm going to tie a dress shoe one more time. All right, I went to another room where we have much more light because the color of the shoe, the value of the shoe and the value of the shoelace is so dark that it's kind of hard to see. So, also, due to the value, I have to wear my reading glasses. And I'm not even sure if I can do this on my first try. It's been a while since I've done this. But again, it's the same start, the double over under. You can use your other foot to cinch it down. I'm not bothering to do that at this point. I'm just trying to get through the tying of the knot. But there it is. I did it. After seeing this, you're probably definitely going to want to go the loafer route as opposed to dress shoe tie. But there it is. And again, check out Pinterest. There's some pretty fun things going on with shoelaces. Sometimes folding up bags, potato chips and other things like that, it gets a little tough to keep the package folded down while you try and get the clip going. Sometimes you can get it. This is what I came up with. I open the drawer and I just put a little bit of pressure on it, and it keeps it folded. Put the clip on. We're good to go. So let's say you're baking, cooking, and you've made a mess, and this is a whole lot of flour. You don't want to waste that. So you gather it up. And this is where the cabinet drawer comes in handy yet again. Say, all right, how am I going to do this? Oh, I got a bowl. I open up the drawer, put my bowl underneath. I steer my flour into the bowl. And then from the bowl, I simply put it back into the bag. Pouring contents from a flimsy container or flimsy bag. Right here we have some cane sugar, and normally where you would take one hand and support the back end and then you direct where you wanted to pour with the front. Now everything is done from the top. You grab the back corner and then you get towards the front, and then you're able to control your pour. Let me do this. Go back a little bit. Again, you grab that back corner and you grab very close to the front, and then you just start manipulating your wrist so that you can pour. And that's that. This is a zester. It's a very, very, very fine grater used for grating the skins off of limes and lemons to get their essence. Also ginger, which I don't like it that much for ginger, not for one arm. As I explained in the guacamole section, if you take your mandolin and just make some thin slices from your ginger and then you put it in a garlic press, you'll get pure ginger juice with half the frustration level. But what I wanted to demonstrate today was how great this works on dried ingredients like a nutmeg. And the way I do the zester is I happen to have this mortar and pestle that is pure stone, so it's anywhere between 12 and 15 pounds. And all I do is take my grater, my zester, and make it so that the rough part faces towards me, so I'm putting the pressure on my belly, and this just keeps it steady. And then I'm going to grate. But the thing to do before I start grating my nutmeg, I'm going to put a piece of paper down underneath. So now I grate my nutmeg. And so let's say I need a half a teaspoon of it, and I just kind of guess. And then I would take my piece of paper and I would gently fold it together, keeping the nutmeg right there, and then I would pour it into my measuring spoon to see if I got the right amount of nutmeg. If I didn't, I would do some more of what I do. But again, the mortar and pestle thing, whatever you can find, maybe you can find a wall that's close enough to you and you can just put up against it. But I've tried different ways, and this is just the simplest way. I mean, because when you're cooking, you don't want to get too bogged down with contraptions. You just want to get moving. And this is what works for me, and hopefully it works for you. The cheese grater. For me, it's pretty straightforward. I just lean it up against my stomach, and I grate downwards, and it's fine. Some of you may not be comfortable with that. The other option would be to lay it down, and I would recommend putting something between your body and the zester and the grater so that you're not like pushing cheese up against your belly. You just keep your distance. So this works. For me, I'm able to put much better pressure when it's up against my body. Either way works, but it's rather straightforward. So the other day, my wife and I went to the store and ended up making an impulse buy of a couple of these rubber ice cube trays. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a great opportunity to show how to do some pouring and bottle opening with these flimsy plastic containers. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a good firm grip on the bottom of the bottle. And this particular bottle has already been opened, so I don't really need to do the process I'm just about to demonstrate. But on that initial opening where you got all the little seals going on, you need it. So you get a good grip on the base, and then you're going to use your teeth to surround the cap itself, and you're going to turn the bottle clockwise, which will be like counterclockwise for the screw top. So we go like this. Boom. Then, instead of grabbing the bottle from the back and trying to muscle it up, which causes the water to come out, we reverse the action and use our hand as a support system, like so. All right. Now we'll see if I can get it in the freezer without getting water all over the place. Okay, so this is actually my second attempt, and you can see my hand is about halfway back. Well, the first time I did it, I had my hand completely under, and it was too hard to get my hand out without spilling water. And so this way, by moving my hand back, made it much easier, and yes, there's water in there. Perfect way to do it, but it certainly is helpful. Okay, just want to show you something real quick. The foil on a wine bottle tends to be a little hard to get off. There's those special little cutters, and then there's the special knives, but anyone less than a sommelier is going to have a problem with it. But I found a way to make it quite simple. I take a knife that is fairly flexible and sharp, and I come to the foil and I put the knife at an angle, and I just go up, give it a 180, slice again, bada boom, bada bing, it's done. Also, I would recommend an automatic corkscrew. I know I like to tie my shoelaces as opposed to a loafer, but when it comes to uncorking bottled wine, this is the way to go. Absolutely, hands down. But I do have to put it between my legs in order to do that. I'm not going to show you that. You'll just have to use your imagination. Bye. show you how to make avocado with one hand. And I'll show you a couple of fun kitchen gadgets. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our avocado in half. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife. I'm going to take the front of my knife and score the leading edge of the avocado to where I now have made contact with the pit. I'm going to take both the knife and the avocado and turn them over. Now, maybe you can't see that so well, so I'm going to adjust our camera a little bit. There we go. Now, there's a gutter, which is for juices and things, but it also holds the knife really nicely. If you don't, you're just going to have to work at balancing it a little better. So now I'm going to roll my avocado across the blade of the knife, and I'll slide it forward a little bit so I can continue my roll. I've now made my complete dissection of the avocado. And we take our spoon and we carve it out. I'm going to have to say I don't think the avocados are really at their prime this time of year. I also want to point out that if you were hoping to use your avocado as a garnish to where you like to have it sort of sliced for presentation, if you take your avocado half and quarter it, you'll find that you can make a much cleaner scoop of the avocado. And then you can make your slices like so. Again, I don't think these are the best avocados. I just bought this yesterday and already it's just not so great. But anyway, on with the demonstration. Next thing I'm going to do is garlic. I have my garlic here. Garlic has already been de-skinned. Now, if you don't know about the garlic press, you're really missing out. Garlic presses are really great. Not only is it great for garlic, but I found that when I need to do ginger, normally you have a zester. It's one of these little guys, and you're just supposed to hold it and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it makes this nice juicy thing. Well, I found that if I slice the ginger very thinly, which is with what's called a mandolin, and I'll show you that in a minute, I would then put the thin slices of ginger in the garlic press, and I would get my ginger juice that way. I was rather proud of myself for thinking of that. Yes, I was. So anyway, getting our garlic going, and after I get the garlic in, okay, so now we're going to deal with the onion, and this is going to be the opportunity I have in which to introduce the mandolin, which is for slicing, and then my vegetable chopper, which I really do enjoy. Just on a side note, if you're wondering how much garlic I actually put in my guacamole, it was 4 cloves. I like garlic. So what I do first is I cut an onion in half, and then I deal with the little ends. As you can see, it's a little precarious in doing so. Start slow. You want to save your fingers, because I gotta tell you, nothing hurts worse than a finger that has a little split in it, like I have one here on my middle finger. And man, when it is the only hand you're using, you realize how much you use that finger, and just be careful. So, I've already taken my little red adjustment and adjusted it to what I think it's at the thickness of my preference. I have my half an onion, and then there's this little cap which allows you to go back and forth on your mandolin without risking your fingers. And so there's the first slice of onion. I'm going to say, yeah, that's a good thickness. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the chopper. And you can see there are 4 different sizes of chops that you can choose from. I am going to be choosing the finest grade. Now, I'm a guy that's kind of into presentation. So like when I make breakfast burritos and I have country potatoes in them and stuff like that, I really like my potatoes to be like perfectly square. So, you know, something like this really deals with the anal side of me. So anyway, here we go. We got this chopper. I'm going to reset the camera so that you can get a better angle, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these in half because the circumference of the onion is too big. So we cut it in half, press down, voila, I got wonderful little chopped onion. I can do this all day. So, if you are in a situation like me where you're going to be having the use of only one arm for an unspecified amount of time, this is a real good thing to get. You'll love it. Okay, we're on to the next phase. Now we're on to the tomatoes. For me, I just find it much easier to deal with smaller tomatoes that are nice and firm, little cherry tomatoes, go as large as Roma. When it comes to the beefsteak, potatoes, heirlooms, trying to do multiple slices without having some way of support with your other hand, it just gets very frustrating. So for me, I enjoy the smaller tomatoes. I also found that it's better to cut from the exposed side as opposed to the skin side because you get less resistance. You know, you can do it. The tomato wants to squish it because you're trying to get through the skin. So just that's the way I do it. I've never tried using the mandolin to slice tomatoes. It seems like it would be kind of messy. You're welcome to try it. You know, to each his own. I find that the smaller tomatoes, since they're firm, look at that. I just went against my own advice. So once in the guacamole, they hold their shape. They don't break down as much. So I'm not going to make you watch me cut all these tomatoes. I'll just be back when it's time to do the cilantro. So now we're down to the last 2 items. And these last 2 items are critical, imperative, according to my wife. If you do not have these last 2 items in your guacamole, it just isn't guacamole. So number 1 is cilantro. And I will just cut some off. And There's no other way of doing it than just kind of getting it as close together as you can and start going to town. All right, here we go. And finally, the lemon. The lemon juice, rather. Oh man. This is gonna hurt my finger with the cut on it. Oh well, here we go. So being careful not to let any seeds drop into the guacamole. There you go. And of course I'm just going to mix it all up, and it doesn't really matter what it tastes like because this was mainly just to be a demonstration. Yeah, that works. Till next time. Okay, this little baby I got at the Sharper Image for 40 bucks. And I'm trying it for the first time, so we're gonna witness together if this is gonna actually work or not. Here we go. It says hands free. There you go. It works. I'm happy. Well, my happiness was short-lived. The little opener managed to open 3 more cans and then promptly died. So I'm going to have to say, don't buy one. I'll come up with something to help you out that's better than that. All right? So we have a pretty good semblance of things that need to be washed. We got a deep pot there. We got some silverware over there. A few glasses, wine glasses. The sink already has some water in it with some dishes. That's my wife's signal to me, letting me know that she sees the dishes and she promises she'll get to them a little bit later. But we'll do her a favor and we'll take care of it now. So the first thing to take note of is having a clean drying rack for your dishes. And the next thing is the sponge, which has the natural sponge on one side and the scouring on the other. It's really important. All right, this is my preferred method of doing the dishes. I emptied the soapy water because my little dish rag that I like to have down at the bottom, which helps prevent accidents with glass, doesn't work really good when there's water in it. So this is my setup. So right now I'm just going to set it down and I'm going to do my thing, and you can watch. So this is where the damp rag comes in handy. Sometimes food gets under the lip of these little containers, and the rag just offers a little more stability so it doesn't slip around as I try and do my cleaning thing. Alright, let's try a wine glass. Now, depending on the size of your hand, you can do this as I'm doing it, or you can get the assistance of a fork, which gives you a little bit more reach. I mean, your hands may even be too big to fit into the opening, and then that's when a fork comes in handy. Get the rim of the glass. You know, there's just no getting around it. Doing things with one arm is not pretty, but you can do it without breaking everything. There isn't. It is possible. Oh, this is an easy glass. And here, short. Spin it around. All right, the dishes are clean. The sink is now clean. The only thing left for me to do is clean the black kettle. And I have since moved my damp rag that was in the sink onto the counter. Since this is cast iron, the rule of thumb is you never want to use soap because it destroys all the wonderful seasoning that goes on cook after cook with the kettle. So what I do is I take my sponge and I get out the goobers, and then after that I'll just take a little olive oil or maybe a coconut oil, and I'll just put it on the burner for a little bit, let it heat up. That way it's clean, but it's also remains seasoned. Yeah. Oh, and if you find that, you know, you got gunk that's, you know, baked on for whatever reason, then you just go ahead and pour some water in, put the burner on, and it kind of deglazes the pot before you have to do anything. So there it is. Now, I will say that we do have a dishwasher, a really good one, with an 11-minute wash cycle, which I absolutely love for doing the wine glasses. And the only tip I have that I want to show you in regards to the dishwasher is unloading glasses. So here we go. So what I do is I take a dish towel and I grab it by the base, and I'll give it a little rub down for any water that might have pooled at there. And then I take it over here where I set it down on a drying mat so that whatever water may be on the rim of the glass will now be absorbed, and I can turn it like this and I won't get any water running down my glass. I just don't like that. Same difference here. There you go. Also, I've done it more than once where I've set the glass down and the towel was underneath it, and when I pulled the towel out, I broke the glass. So yeah, you got to be careful of that. All right, one more thing before I get out of the kitchen. I want to show you how to think things a little differently when taking care of different tasks. I have a cold brew kit, and it needs cleaning every once in a while, and now's one of those times, and I want to show it to you. It's right here, and you can see it needs cleaning. And that's what I'm going to do. All right, so this is how it gets done. Again, it's not pretty, but it's kind of how it's got to be. So this black handle unscrews, but trying to unscrew it and getting a good grip on it, the legs get in the way. So by turning it backwards and making the black handle stationary, then I can simply just unscrew the bottom part and it goes along much better. I take my handy dandy sponge and I put it in to the cold brew container. Take my tongs, grab the sponge, being sure to get up under the lip, and then I rinse, and there you go. To put it back together, just do the reverse of what I did earlier. So I'd like to share a little story with you. I went to the supermarket the other day to get a big bag of dry dog food. Went in, and once I was there, I decided, well, you know, I'll get a couple more items. Did the self-checkout, and I got my things in a little bag. I put the dog food back in the cart, got my receipt, everything's good to go, head on out the door. And as about crossing the street towards the actual parking lot, I'm hearing this, and for some reason I figured I better look and see. It probably has something to do with me. So I turn around, and sure enough, the guy that was checking out next to me, he's kind of like pointing back inside the store, and I look in the cart. Oh yeah, I forgot my items. So I start jogging back towards the store with my cart and one hand in my pocket, and I guess that kind of looked obvious to some people. And I didn't feel like going all the way back into the store with the cart, so I thought I'd take a chance, and I put it close. And I run into the store, and people are waiting for me, and they go, oh, we saw your groceries. Yeah, thanks very much. And I get my stuff, and I back out to the cart, and you know, I'm looking at, oh yeah, the dog food's still in there, everything's great. Put my groceries in with the dog food, turn my cart around, and I start heading towards the car. And then there's this, you know, I was one aisle over from where I was at, so I needed to cut across. That's where I chose to cut across. There's kind of a big burly guy standing next to his truck, and I'm starting to walk by him, and he goes, all right. And I go, hi. Keep going, and I feel that he just turned around and is following me. So I just keep walking to my car, and I get to my car, and I turn to him and just kind of give him a look like, okay, you're following me, and now I'm going to give you a chance to tell me why. And he goes, I thought maybe you might need some help putting your dog food in your car. Yeah, I saw that, you know, you're only one arm. And I go, well, I've been that way for 44 years. It's not that big a deal so much. But yeah, sure, I'll let you put my dog food in my car. And so I open it up, he puts it in there, and then he goes, yeah, you know, I noticed, you know, when you were pushing your cart, you were doing it with one hand, and so I decided to kind of stick around and watch your cart full of dog food, make sure nobody took it. And I said, wow, that's nice, thank you very much. And that was it. He left and got in my car. The point I want to make is there are a lot of people that really would like the opportunity to help when they see someone, you know, struggling with the use of one arm. And when I was in the beginning, I had a lot of pride, and I had to make sure that everybody knew that I could do it. But I realized as time went by, you know, it's okay to let people help. They want to help. You know you can do it. Let them help. Yeah, and it was, I don't know, it was, when it was all done, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm going to share that. So I hope what I shared with you helps you out a little bit. Okay, that's it for this episode. Look for my next episode coming up shortly. And as in this video, I plan on ending each video with some personal experience that I can reflect on and bring some insight to help you guys deal with the emotional baggage that comes with the loss of a limb. Thanks. Bye-bye.